Okay, physics class, what we're going to talk about is something called unit conversions. So take out a sheet of paper and you can label it unit conversions. And you can add this paper to your 3-ring binder notebook. And what we're trying to do here is change one unit into another type of unit. And this is usually used with the English system. Not so much with the metric, although it can be, but the metric's a bit even simpler than that. So the way you convert units from one unit type to another is by multiplying by 1. Now you know that when you multiply something by 1, it doesn't change anything. But actually, if you set it up right, you can change the unit. So multiplying by 1, when used correctly, changes only the unit. Now let me show you a few different ways that we can think of the number 1. For instance, if I say 24 hours, you probably are thinking that 24 hours is the same thing as 1 day, and you're thinking correctly. When you write it as a ratio like that, when what's in the numerator is the same thing as what's in the denominator, then that equals 1. So that ratio is equal to 1. Here's another way we could have written it. We could have said that 1 day is the same as 24 hours. And that would also be equal to 1. How do you know which way to do it? Upside down, right side up? It depends on what you're trying to cancel unit-wise. Let me give you another example. So let's say we talk about a year. And we know that 1 year is how many days? Roughly 365 days. Well, since 1 year is the same thing as 365 days, that ratio is equal to 1. Also, you could have written the reciprocal of 365 days is the same thing as 1 year. And that would also. So, when we go to convert one unit to another type, we multiply by 1 in some kind of ratio form. Let's go to the next page, and you actually have this as a worksheet. So take out the worksheet if you haven't taken it out yet. Let me point a couple things out to you. At the top, we have what we call conversions, or conversion factors. Each one of these things under conversions, if written as a ratio, would equal 1. For instance, 1 foot is the same thing as 12 inches. Write it as a ratio, it's equal to 1. 1 yard is the same thing as 3 feet. Write it as a ratio, and it's equal to 1. 1 hour is the same thing as 3,600 seconds. Write it as a ratio, and it's equal to 1. Let's see how we use this to solve a problem. So our first example here, we'll call it number 1. It is 565,900 seconds. Change that into days. Change seconds into days. Here's how you do it. You write the number of seconds you're starting with. 565,900 seconds. And then at the end, I'll put the end goal here. The end is how many days is that? How do we do this? How do we change seconds into days? We multiply by 1. What's going to go in there is going to be equivalent to 1, but we do it strategically. So that means we're going to write 1 as a ratio so that we can get rid of seconds, which is sitting right there, and introduce days. So let me put seconds down in the denominator. When I put it downstairs like that, that means that seconds in the numerator can cancel with seconds in the denominator. Now, what can I relate seconds to? Well, I know that if I think, okay, don't I know how many seconds are in a day? I do know that there's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. How do I know that? I know that from that conversion that was given to me right there. Okay, so I had to take 5 minutes off. You don't know that, but I got interrupted there. So what we have right now is we've canceled our seconds in the numerator and denominator because we know there's 3,600 seconds in an hour. We got that from right up here. Now, what we're left with at this point is the unit of hours, and we don't want that. We want the unit of days. So we're going to multiply again by some ratio that, you guessed it, is equal to 1. What's that ratio going to be? Well, we're going to have to cancel hours, so hours better go in the denominator so that it will cancel with hours sitting here in the numerator. Now, how can we relate hours to days? So you should know that there are 24 hours in a single day. That ratio is equal to 1 because there's 24 hours in one day. So that leaves us with the unit of days. What do? Well, we do the math. It says we take 565,900, multiply it by 1 over 3,600. Multiply that result by 1 over 24. And whatever we get ends up being in days. So grab your calculator, pause the video, try the calculation. Did you try it? If you didn't, pause it now and give it a try. But here's what I came up with. About 6.5 days. Rounded 6.55 days. So that means this mess load of 565,900 seconds is the equivalent of 6.55 days. Let's try another one. Let's try this next one here. 17 years into minutes. We'll give this number 2. Remember, we're going to write down what we're starting with, which is 17 years. And we're going to say that we're changing that at the end into minutes. How do we do it? Same exact way we thought about doing the other one, by multiplying by 1. So I'm going to multiply by a ratio here that's equal to 1. Now, what can I chunk years down into? I don't know how many years are in a minute, but I do know that I can break years down into something smaller. What do you think that might be? There's nothing up here under conversions that deals with that directly for us, but let me start out by writing years here, because that will make a cancellation with years over there. What's smaller than years? Well, days is. Do you know how many days are in a year? Say that 1 year is about 365 days. About. Now, that means right now our unit is days. I want minutes, so I'm going to multiply by 1 again in fractional form. I'm going to get rid of days, so I'll put it downstairs right there. That'll cancel with days in the numerator over here. And can I break days down to anything smaller? Well, I can say that 1 day is 24 hours. That's smaller. And now my surviving unit is hours. I want minutes. Let me get rid of hours by multiplying by 1 in fractional form. I'll put hours downstairs. That'll cancel with hours upstairs. And can I relate hours to minutes? Sure. I know a single hour is, do you know how many minutes that is? 60 minutes. Now what do? I do the math. I multiply 17 by 365, multiply that by 24, multiply that by 60. All those were over 1, so that's why I just said what I said. Rewind if you need to hear it again. Go ahead and calculate it. Pause the video while you do. And what did you get? Should have been a big number. Here's what I have. 8,935,200 minutes. So 17 years. If you're 17 years old on your birthday, you will be almost 9 million minutes old. 8,935,200 minutes. So to summarize, watch the video again if you need to, but you change units by multiplying by a ratio that's equal to 1 that cancels the unit you want to get rid of and introduces a new unit that you can deal with or that you're looking for. Your assignment for tomorrow, finish the rest of this side of the worksheet. Don't do the back yet unless you want to, but this side is due tomorrow. We'll work on the back tomorrow in class. That's it.